Warning. This content may be offensive, upsetting, or disturbing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. What conspiracy theories do you think are too logical to ignore? David Miscavige, the chairman of the Church of Scientology, definitely murdered his wife and is getting off scot-free for it. Him and his wife got into a pretty heated argument in 2007, and she hasn't been seen since. Lawyers hired by David claim she is still alive and devotes 100% of her time to work at the Church of Scientology, which is why she hasn't been seen since August 2007. In 2013, a former member of the church had filed a missing person report that was closed after a few officers had spoken and seen Mrs. Miscavige. Even though there's no evidence whatsoever of this meeting, all missing persons reports now are turned down. Since this investigation is forever closed, she is either dead or locked in a bunker. Mattress Firm is a drug cartel or a money laundering company, or maybe they are laundering money for the drug cartels. I don't know, but whatever it is, they're up to no good. We talk about this at work all the time. There's an area that has 3 of them within about 5 miles of one another. Who are all these people buying mattresses so frequently that you need 3 stores to keep up with the sales? That this question is reposted every couple of weeks by them to see just how close the public is to figuring out their schemes. And that this response is reposted every time to throw you off our trail. That's right, we are onto them being onto us being onto them. With the number of billionaires that are psychopaths or similar, there must be a few super rich serial killers out there. By extension, there must be people making money supplying victims in the same way Epstein was supplying girls to the wealthy who wanted to scratch an itch. With the money, power, and influence would come governments and intelligence agencies willing to overlook or cover up terrible actions for leverage. New Coke was a way for Coca-Cola to switch from real sugar to corn syrup without people noticing. Switch to the new formula that everyone hates, keep it for a while so that people demand the old one back, then switch it back after enough time has passed that people wouldn't notice the relatively subtle change. The change is not subtle at all once you've switched to Mexican Coke for a while, which is still made with cane sugar. Going back to the corn syrup Coke is awful now. It coats your mouth in this weird gross way that is hard to ignore. Nothing's actually happening in Area 51. The government just keep it so people will focus on it and ignore the shady stuff happening somewhere else. Actually, Area 51 was created during the Cold War as a testing and development facility for aircraft, including the U-2 and SR-71 Blackbird reconnaissance planes. And currently it's probably being used to test few weapons, and that's it. Every country has their secret projects and we all know it. The entire alien and conspiracy theories have only fueled movies and TV shows. That's it. That the US knowingly left prisoner of wars behind in Vietnam. Isn't that just the plot of the second Rambo film? Yep, it is. Popular culture has reflected the live prisoners theory, most notably in the 1985 film Rambo: First Blood Part 2. Source: Wikipedia. Google Maps only asks you for feedback on its navigation when it knows it did a good job. I use navigation all the time, and I find that when it gets me to the destination on time or earlier than predicted, I get a notification asking to rate the trip. But if it gets me there after it originally estimated, I never get that notification. It wouldn't be difficult to program this into the program, so you're likely correct. Google probably figures they don't want to ask you right after they did a bad job. The fashion industry makes too much money from purses to care about making pockets for women easily available. Edit. All the people saying just buy men's pants have apparently never seen a woman's hips. Wanna really have your mind blown? Take your pants to a seamstress. We can add pockets or make existing pockets bigger. I do it all the time. $5 a pocket, and I measure your phone to make sure it fits in without any issues. The reason Disney came out with a movie called Frozen was so that when you Googled Disney Frozen you would get information about the movie and not websites talking about Walt Disney's body being frozen. The same goes for Disney on Ice. I like that people always are worried that Epstein was murdered instead of suicide. What if this was a ploy to cover up that he just escaped or paid his way out of prison? Well shit. So Epstein really didn't kill himself is what we are agreeing on here? Secret societies definitely exist. No, we don't. Non-Illuminati confirmed. And chemtrails. Amazed that I haven't seen Gary Webb mentioned. Expose the CIA for assisting in drug trafficking and commit suicide with 2 bullets to the head. Worst case of suicide I've ever seen. It worked so well he shot himself a 2nd time. I believe that the US government has men in black that make people disappear if they know more than what's good for them. Welp, you're screwed now. Yep, and it's gonna be a suicide. O.J. Simpson is Khloe Kardashian's father. Rob Kardashian himself didn't want a DNA test done because he knew he wasn't the father. And if you look at Khloe, you can easily tell she has some similarities to OJ. Edit. Okay, wow. Didn't expect this to blow up. Just a conspiracy I believe in. Don't want people thinking that I just compare their looks and assume they are just related. This whole thread is basically that part of Maury where they stand next to the TV and point at the picture of the kid yelling at each other. I quite like the missing cosmonauts theory. It's unlikely but seems like it could have been possible. It boils down to the idea that Yuri Gagarin wasn't the first man in space. He was just the first man in space to survive the entire process. Edit. Phrasing. Also thanks for the gold kind stranger. There was nothing found about any of this in the Soviet archives after the fall of the USSR. Plus, they kept records of the cosmonauts that did die, so why would they scrub just those first few deaths? Pretty sure I saw it here on Reddit at one point, but someone brought up the art trade. That these $1 million art shows / individual pieces that go for insanely high prices are just a way for money laundering. Tax write-off even. So a real estate friend of mine told me that if you made $1 million you should get a shitty painting done. Have a mate who happens to be an art critic or evaluator value the piece at $50,000 then donate that piece to charity stating its value. That allows you to claim a deductible of $50,000 towards your taxable income due to your charitable donation. Genius. Nutley, New Jersey, where Martha Stewart was born, has a butcher shop every other corner. How much meat does one small blue-collar town need? Suspicious. You're saying Martha Stewart is an insatiable cannibal and has a private army of butchers quietly living amongst the sleepy townspeople, and then they secretly off them and prepare them for her to feast upon. The Denver airport theory. I mean the capstan of the building literally has the Freemason logo on it. There's some weird ass apocalypse murals on the walls. The runways look like a swastika. And there's a 50-foot tall horse statue with red glowing eyes. I mean seriously, who the fuck designed that place? Building the airport cost $3 billion more than expected, and the labor was piecemealed out through countless contractors, so nobody who built it knows the full scope of it. Oh, and that 50-foot tall horse statue with red glowing eyes killed its creator. Denver International Airport is a weird place. Some torture devices such as the Iron Maiden were made up hundreds of years later, so people would think, well, a regular hanger ain't too bad then. This is literally true as far as the Iron Maiden. I'm pretty sure one of the Simon Whistler things talked about this like last week. 1. Kennedy gets elected. 2. Kennedy is critical of the CIA, his own VP and military for wanting to turn the Cold War into a hot one and the willingness to perform false flag operations, Project Northwoods, to do it. 3. Kennedy is shot. 4. His VP takes power. 5. Classified. The whole aliens in Area 51 thing was to cover up the fact it's actually a military test facility. The government would rather have alien BS about that place than have other governments steal or sell their weapons and tech to avoid another war. Pretty smart in my opinion. To be fair, it's probably quite handy to have the public think they keep aliens there. Helps distract from where the aliens are really kept. McDonald's shake machines are never actually down. The night crew people are just too lazy to clean it. That's usually the case from what I've been told by people who I know that work at McDonald's. They're basically like it's a giant pain in the ass to clean, and it takes literal hours to do. That karma on Reddit really does nothing. That's exactly the thing I hate about a Reddit. Karma makes being active on Reddit a competition. A competition with no reward. Probably too late to this thread, but the idea that there are too many chicken wings for the amount of chickens sold. There is something like 1 billion chicken wings sold every Super Bowl. Where are they coming from? Well, you technically get 4 wings from every bird, so 1 chicken equals 4 wings. So 2020 Super Bowl had 1.25 billion wings divided by 4, and that's 312,500,000 chickens. 9 billion chickens are eaten in the US, so it really needs to be asked, where are the other 34,750,000,000 chicken wings? Princess Diana car crash wasn't accidental. I truly believe Prince Philip hired someone to get rid of her, and have a feeling that when him, Elizabeth and Charles die, some very secret conversations, emails etc. will come out. Madeleine McCann was accidentally killed by her parents. I don't believe they intended to do it, but I do believe they covered it up, and once the press etc. arrived, they see an opportunity to make money out of the situation. Another thing is that Diana felt very suspicious that she was going to be killed by someone before this happened. Plus, the autopsy reports of the crash are dubious at best. With all the scientists in the world, there has to be at least one secret lab on this planet where they have cloned a human. I mean, it's theoretically possible to clone a human being. The main setback is ethical concerns. Then again, when has that ever stopped some people? US intelligence conducting organized blackmail operations out of Epstein's Island. The prosecutor handling Epstein's old case was told to back off and go easy because Epstein was intelligence. Acosta's departure from the administration confirmed that this was not just a rumor. So as an American, I would really like to know exactly who was blackmailing who, how far it extended, and what political decisions were affected. 9/11 was allowed to happen so the government could go ahead with political agendas that would have been very unpopular otherwise. There were all kinds of advanced warnings that an attack was imminent, yet they were ignored. The attack allowed for the invasion and never-ending occupation of the Middle East, as well as the Patriot Act that allows for increased spying by the government, and was passed only about a month after 9/11. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, hit like, get subscribed, and tell us conspiracy theories you believe are true in the comment section, and support the original writers with upvotes, links in the description box.